So folks, I just want to start this episode off by saying that when it comes to alt season, we're in a tough spot indeed. We can expect further increases. I hope so because I farm altcoins myself, but I am actually in a different situation. From a different perspective, that's why people who are just entering the market should be very careful. Because I, or those who have been investing since the beginning of 2023, are seeing profits in our altcoin portfolios of around 300–400% or more. So getting into altcoins right now definitely comes with a lot of risk. If we look at all of them, in general terms, comparing them to the previous bull market, we are still on quite solid ground. These are definitely not the results we were expecting. However, we need to take into account, of course, that I am in favor of us continuing to grow. I think we still have a few months of growth ahead of us. However, we need to consider that the market is incredibly diluted due to the large number of altcoins. Because of ETFs, because of various situations happening in the cryptocurrency market, it's not guaranteed that we will see a bull market in altcoins like we did last time. Of course, as I said, I will point that out every time. I hope so too. I would like us to actually break through those high levels. However, you need to be careful and have a plan in the back of your mind. What if such an alt season doesn't happen? What if the entire cryptocurrency market collapsed? A huge transformation, and we will only have Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe a few of the largest market caps that will actually grow over time, so let everyone make their own decisions. And most importantly, secure their investments. Are you securing your trades? Because remember, it's more important to not lose than to just make money. My dear friends, let's move on to the first coin you requested, namely Coin Tau. The chart on ByBit may not be satisfyingly long, but we will set our main levels, which will strictly interest us in this project. So starting maybe from the beginning, we actually set our old swing high, the place of this consolidation, here at this low, which is key for us because it will be our main support at this moment. It looks quite interesting. Our liquidity zone is pretty narrow, so you should be looking here if you want to possibly enter into TAO as the first main area of potential support, potential demand, potential purchase opportunities. As you know, I trade mainly based on liquidity. I'm a swing trader, so that's how I'll show you these coins. Of course, we are on the daily chart. It would also be important for us to mark our current swing high. However, let's look at the fact that this ATH hasn't been broken because, of course, this ATH is very fragile. Since the moment we broke it, we immediately saw a sell-off in this project. That's why, for now, there's no sign of any desire of some huge increases. The most important thing is that we're not hitting an all-time low. We're not breaking that all-time low. We're in a relatively interesting, quite wide consolidation because we have a range of almost 100%. Personally, if I were to pay attention to this coin I mentioned, my friends shorting in the current altcoin market. I'm not saying it's bad because I sometimes take shorts myself. Even though I'm mostly in longs in the market right now, shorts at such low altcoin valuations can be risky. So be careful if you place such orders at all, always, with stop losses, and be very careful not to hold these positions too long. Even if the altcoin market were to capsize, so be it. It's better to just not take risks and rather try to catch longs. So here on this Tau, my dears, from here I would possibly try to catch so that I would actually longs. However, remember that if somewhere here in this zone you want to catch longs, then in fact stop losses and all the liquidity that could make such a liquid graph for you and knock you out. These are precisely the areas of $288 and $230 that you need to watch out for in your, so to speak, valuations. However, I personally would probably not put that bet on. Stop loss lower than 307. I'm looking at these horizontal levels. However, remember, let this be an individual decision for each person. When it comes to take profit, we could actually set the final one at the attempt to return to the all-time high, if the market allows it, if the altcoins allow it, and if Tau performs well. Of course, I think this zone will be retested, so you need to be patient and wait for it calmly. However, remember that along the way it will be worth taking, my dears, a few take profits as the first, second, and third. We're looking at this from a liquidity perspective. So here we have some pretty interesting spots, which were respected earlier. You can see from the wicks that there's a willingness to sell here. So just in these places, where we have a probability of getting a reaction, we're taking take profits. My dear friends, let's now move on to ICP. This is a project that I personally hold in my portfolio, whether it's experimental or private. However, in my private portfolio, I have very little ICP. At this moment, if we take a look at the project and the chart, the situation looks quite good. Because right now, we're not breaking the all-time low and we're moving in a slight upward trend. There was an attempt to return to the value area high, which you can see from this most important cluster. So from swing high to swing low, at this moment the point of control is being respected as quite an interesting, quite a strong resistance. However, let's take a look at this locally. At this moment, does anyone want to long this? Well, I would personally hold off, wait, until ICP breaks out, although around $9.90, maybe even $10, because that would be a sign that we're breaking out of our main resistance to support flip zone. Of course, if we look at the volume, it doesn't look great, because we have increases. But the volume isn't showing up, so it could be a deceptive rise. Be careful with ICP. Even looking from the volume perspective, I would personally prefer to wait for a breakout of this zone and only then try to long. Even a short long that gave us around 12% of the base movement, which is a huge increase, right? There's nothing to talk about here, however. I wouldn't enter before I see an attempt to break out of this zone. But my dear friends, with volume, and not an empty movement without volume, because that could indicate that we're just leaving ourselves here. Swing failure pattern or the empty wick. And we will keep going down somewhere on this ICP. It is worth it, listen, to definitely pay attention to the total of 3 in all your investment or trading decisions when it comes to altcoins. Obviously, at this point we're holding pretty well above that $1 trillion mark, but this is a chart that you should be paying attention to directly. If we assume that there will be an attempt to return to alt seasons, that there will be an attempt to pump altcoins, so indeed all these zones that I'm showing you will be interesting for entering. Even on some coins, if you look at these charts, they are so flattened at the bottom that sometimes I wonder where it would really have to drop. Of course, there are coins like Sonica, XRP, Stellar, HBAR, and many others that have huge room for drops or potential. I don't know, but they have a lot of room to drop. And those coins that have already broken out a few, some even a dozen, be careful with buying at the peaks. My friends, let's move on to the Sonica chart. And here it will be very important to show you the phantom chart. Unfortunately, the quality isn't the best. However, just such a chart, I managed to recover here around 50 to 60 cents. Do you see that green liquidity zone? Very important. I don't know what kind of idiots you have to be to turn off the old chart on TradingView and upload a new one that looks like Bitcoin. A dying horse, even though it isn't. However, as new people entering the market see a chart like this, they say, well, he is probably dead and not alive. However, my friends, this is simply a continuation of the phantom chart, so as long as we are here in these areas between 50 and 55 cents and we are maintaining, we are not falling below this zone, this is a sign for us that this is simply a demand zone. In my opinion, because many people are asking about Sonica, I still believe in Sonica. I still believe that Sonica has a lot of potential, and it will return to its price levels. I hope above $1, $2. However, you need to be patient. We're waiting for that. It takes a lot of time. I myself haven't really sold out of my bug, which I've been collecting for a long time. Nothing. Somewhere around 84 cents, but as we were still growing, I simply sold 10% of the profit to roll it over, and I rolled it over around 50 cents. I bought more Sonica, so my friends, unfortunately, investing in altcoins comes with a lot of risks. However, the possibility of some pretty nice returns. So I personally still believe in Sonica. However, everyone should make their own investment decisions. Alone, if you don't believe in this project and it looks dead to you, then just don't invest in it. Listen once again at this chart, because this is really what we should be looking at. In my opinion, if we hold in this zone, we'll have an attempt to bounce around 95 cents to $1. And there will be a decision about what happens next with Sonica. Unfortunately, Sonica has dropped here too, and it looks the way it does because a lot of people were buying it, in quotes, on the hills, because they thought it was over. There will be a rebranding. God knows what has been happening. Really. When it comes to the project, a lot is promised, but these are months before this is implemented. Maybe not implemented, but before the money starts coming in because of these actions. In my opinion, the only downside that I could agree with the community on is that it was a stupid idea to do a rebranding. They needed to improve the network, introduce new features, create Phantom 2.0, 3.0, but let's leave the Phantom chart. To keep the name Phantom, which has been recognizable for years instead of messing around with some new name. What do I think? Well, unfortunately, it was a bad idea from a marketing perspective. And now, my dear friends, we move on to something interesting. Specifically Sonica, but not SUSDT, meaning the old Phantom, just Sonica. It is a coin that has the same name. There is just no abbreviation in the name, only the full name. So this Sonic USDT is not the same as SUSDT, which means this SUSDT is the old Phantom. When it comes to this coin, my dear friends, whether we're looking at it on perpetual Or if we're going to trade it on spot, I don't play those kinds of charts. I think such charts are very dangerous. If we have a listing, we had a set price, and we keep dropping, we keep dropping. This volume here, well, my dear friends, how does it look? Completely tragic. It keeps dropping, so I'm not investing in such a coin. I'm not going to invest because I think it's risky. It's a huge risk. We don't know what will happen there. I think he was initially riding the hype of the actual SUSTA, so if I can quickly respond, getting into this coin right now is like playing roulette. We're moving on to the next coin, namely PRCL coin, which I hold in my wallet from an investment experiment. Listen, always pay attention to the volume. If there's no volume, it means that not much is happening there. It won't be, of course, it's bigger than here. In these drops, something has started to appear here. So, it's worth paying attention to whether we won't be breaking those lows on this coin. Honestly, I would prefer to see an attempt to continue the upward trend without dropping below 19.5 cents. At the moment, when we break this zone with volume, which you see here on this wick that had a large volume, so we'll actually take this supply zone from it. I think that it could be quite good. Even looking at the FIB extension, if we take the all-time low and the last high and go back, we have ranges up to around 90 cents. Of course, don't think that this is certain, because if PRCL doesn't break its levels and volume doesn't come in, then as Ryba would say, it's a lost cause. My dear friends, regarding the near coin that you also asked about, let's take a look at the volume on the daily chart right away. The volume also looks like, so to speak, it's dropping. That's not a good sign. A good sign is that we are consistently staying in this red zone. We're not dropping. We're not breaking those wicks. To be honest, I hold this coin as part of an investment experiment. But not entirely. At the moment, I really believe in it. The technical plus, because this is really about whether I believe in it or not, we should look at how the chart looks. The most important thing is that we try at least a little. Let's go back to that horizontal level from the start of the listing on the ByBit exchange. And they tried to break through it. Of course, here, entering Gorsha for 990, well, that would be pointless. But if someone believes in this project, I think that the area around the zone we are in now is a good place for shopping. Even if we actually fell here, well, they hit a new all-time low. Well, you still have 80% of your investment, which is why we are not going all in with all our savings. Even if we have, I don't know, $1,000 set aside for buying on the dip, don't buy it at this moment. For example, don't buy more than, I don't know, 20-30%, because we don't know what's going to happen here. Even if it drops, we won't be crying too much over our loss. And how will it go in our direction? And it penetrated individual zones, so here we would have to pay attention primarily to the surroundings. $6.5, then you could think about adding more and possibly pushing that near further. WorldCoin, my dear friends, you've been asking about it very often, and unfortunately I don't have good news for you. I don't know this coin fundamentally, so I won't say much about it. When it comes to the fundamental aspects. However, when it comes to the chart, the plus is that we haven't broken the all-time low. Again, this coin isn't behaving very well. Look at how much volume is coming in here. What is strange is that this graph is not increasing, that the price isn't going up, that the chart isn't actually bouncing back. Even on the candles, we see that the volume is coming in, but it's not significant. So for me, if we were to consider any actions here, first of all, if we've broken that swing high, which is a good sign, and we haven't broken this swing high here, meaning we're holding on to this swing low, that's relatively a good sign, because we have a consolidation. And for us now, it's a sign that we can determine that this is where it started. An upward trend will break at least 3.25 and ideally at 4.21. Personally, I'm not investing in this coin, but that's just my subjective view. If someone believes, then these areas might indeed be a good place to buy, but you should consider that around 330, you should at least take out 50% or 20-30% to recover your investment, because here, if we even made such a move, we would have almost 100%, so you can take out your investment. You could leave those free coins and see what happens with WorldCoin. And also, always at the very end, when it comes to alt season, when it comes to these bull markets and bear markets, fundamentals matter. And hype. Fundamentals matter in coins that are already in this market. A long time, the bull markets have survived. They are performing relatively well, just like the coins from ISO 2022. And they will probably survive because they have a huge market cap, because they actually have some real-world application. And coins like Point or any other that don't have permanent hype, and nothing has permanent hype. Hype can be, to put it simply, bad. If you have coins that are heavily hyped but weak fundamentally, when there's a pump, you should get out during that pump. At least take out your investment, because it might turn out that you won't sell at a good spot. It's going to drop and never rise again. And that's the mistake many beginners make in this market. That they simply don't take advantage of such opportunities. If point is good fundamentally, we invest in it for years. If a coin doesn't have great fundamentals or just replicates the fundamentals of another project, you wait for the hype. The hype pumps up the price, and you sell, take the profit in hand, and roll that money into more sensible projects like altcoins, like Ethereum, or some of the largest altcoin market caps. And my friends, let's move on to ORDI. This is a coin that I've been trading. There's quite a lot to say about the futures market lately, but looking at its performance right now, after breaking our all-time low, well, I'm taking away the liquidity of the entire order block that was building up here. The situation looks grim. Listen, of course I will repeat again, if someone believes in this project, go ahead. The price is already so low that in fact if you think it will go up to $70, $100, well, buy it because 20 is cheap. But I don't look at charts that way. For me at this moment, the most important thing will be a return or even a breakout. The yellow zone, which is around $26, $27, even $28, because that would mean we're eager to try to reclaim those peaks. Of course, we look at the volume. If the volume isn't coming in, while the price is rising, it will create a false impression of a pump on that coin. And here we really won't say much more. Look at how much selling volume came in here. It's been a while since we've seen good buying volume. Looking at the recent correction. So at this moment, take it easy, no pressure. If we get to 26, don't long it right away because it could just be a reaction to those wicks and a further drop, even filling those fair value gaps you have on the left side. So personally, I'll be waiting for a breakout of that zone, and only then will I think about any trades to go back long on ORDI. And now, my friends, let's move on to a quick Q&A, just like in every episode. And remember, you can write your questions in the comments. I'll be collecting them and trying to address them. Answer as many as possible. First question. There's nothing wrong with taking out a loan for investments if paying back the loan isn't dependent on the success of the investment. It's better to take a loan for investments than for consumption. Well, it's hard to disagree. That taking a loan for investments is much better than for consumption, and that kind of thinking will definitely be better. However, from the very fact of the underlying action, no, not really. I'm convinced of that. It's better to save money for invest than loan payments. That you invested and, for example, lost, better to just save money every month for investments. Unless you need them quickly. It also depends on what kind of investment it is. When it comes to investments in financial markets, unfortunately, I just can't agree with that internally. However, when it comes to investments in the real world and investing with bank money, turning names around, why not? Most people do that. Of course, I'm not saying that someone should take out a loan right now and buy Bitcoin or altcoins. I'm only referring to the statement made in the video that you should never invest on credit under any circumstances. It all depends on the situation. Many companies wouldn't be able to grow and operate if they only invested based on their own funds. Yeah, you're right. I guess I might have said something wrong or didn't say enough. I can agree with you 100%. I believe that loans are a lever for the growth or creation of businesses in general. However, if we are taking a loan for a company for its development, then we need to have a plan. You can't just take out a loan like, I'll take 500,000 and then, I don't know, figure something out. No, it really has to be executed. A well-thought-out plan with bullet points. How we want to invest that money. How will we be getting a return on that investment? Did they reinvest that money? But yes, I do that loans for investments in the real world, in business. You could say they are quite normal and absolutely acceptable. Most people who run businesses do that. I was mainly talking about loans for investments in financial markets that are volatile, that are uncertain. And the worst part is if someone takes out such a loan and doesn't have any basis to pay it back. In case of a downturn, and what then? And if they have the means to pay back such a loan, then why take out the loan? What do you think? How will the topic with DeepSeek develop? When it comes to DeepSeek, the situation is quite dynamic. But at the beginning, suddenly some AI came out that really wasn't properly tested. Is it actually better or is it worse? It caused huge losses, huge movements in the financial markets, in traditional markets. In my opinion, we will hear about DeepSeek again soon. Maybe it won't disappear, but it will definitely quiet down quite a bit. We will be watching the fight calmly. ChatGPT with DeepSeek? The very fact of the drops in Nvidia and the practically immediate returns to their price levels speaks for itself. This is a panic that may have been sown intentionally. Maybe someone had a business in making the market drop by such huge amounts and just took advantage of it. In my opinion, the development of artificial intelligence is a big threat. It kind of scares me. Honestly, I think we're entering very strange times, in which it may turn out that perhaps we won't be aware and possibly won't realize it. When artificial intelligence will simply be smarter than us. And looking at the fact that more and more people are moving away from developing artificial intelligence, I think there's something to it. But let's not worry, we are in the European Union, whose pinnacle of evolution is the invention of a cap, my dear ones, which when you twist it, so simply put, no, it doesn't fall off. And when you drink, well, everyone knows that pain. Is Nvidia's position at risk right now? And if Nvidia starts to drop, the whole market will drop. Because Wall Street is packed with Nvidia? Will this affect crypto? Of course, Nvidia is somewhat correlated with crypto, but in my opinion, it's not at risk right now. Looking at how big of a business it is, how huge the number of orders they have, how massive the amount of production generated now, just on the orders, I don't think Nvidia's fall could happen that quickly, if that's really the case at all. Personally, I'm not really focusing on that at the moment. Maybe not that I'm not thinking about it, because I am, but I'm trying not to let it bother me. I'm just observing, in my humble opinion, according to Nvidia, there is no threat at the moment. Are there rumors that things are going badly behind the scenes? Sonic, do you think they're true? Listen up, rumors are just that, they're always made up. Rumors are always an explanation of what has happened. I've heard some rumors that there was apparently a rebranding done so that the developers could sell off a bit. I don't know if that's true, but there's definitely a grain of truth in every rumor. However, I don't want to let rumors influence my investments. It's possible. Of course, I'm not saying that we don't really know the truth. At this moment, however, I honestly think that these are just rumors. Maybe even if they sold something, it wasn't such a huge sale. The price was also largely dampened by people, but honestly, I don't think so. In any case, when it comes to investments with the flood on Sonic, on SAZET, which is Old Phantom, it's still worth keeping your finger on the pulse. And personally, when it gets down to the price I bought it at, so around 21 cents, I'll probably sell Sonic because I have too much of it to risk. I'm thinking that this is it, in case of a drop, a crash, or anything else. My dear friends, that's all for now. Let me know in the comments what your observations are regarding the coins. Write down the coins and questions that I will use in the next episodes. And of course, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episodes. And by the way, I sincerely thank you, because it's thanks to you that the channel has reached 40,000 subscribers. I sincerely thank you for that. And we'll talk again soon. Weekend Live and Monday Market Update. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you later.